Ori, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Yay, glad to be here, man.
Exciting times, my friend. We have Mary streaming today on Netflix, correct?
Yeah, so be sure
Uh,
to check it out.
there you go, man. You've been busy the last few years, but I've been doing some research on you. How's that been?
It's been pretty good. It's great. It gets me up on my feet, and my favorite thing to do is to travel. So this job kind of like packs it both together. You do what you love, and you get to see the world where you're at it. Like for Mary, we shot in Morocco, so we
Okay.
were there for a couple of months, and it's just I've always wanted to be there because there's something so primal about that place. I mean, I've always what I've known of Morocco was the Sahara Desert more than
Mm,
anything,
yeah.
and it just it played out that the first scene of the movie that we shot, they drove me at night. We got to a place at 4 a.m. and a car picked me up. It was pitch black. You could see a trillion stars up in the air, up in the sky, I mean. And then we started moving from cement to like a gravel onto sand. And you know what happens
Uh,
when you drive in the sand? The car sinks into the sand. So they have to keep a certain speed so the car won't dig itself in. So here I was, I think it was 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m., flying over the dunes of the in Morocco in pitch black. And it was like, am I shooting a movie or this is an amusement park? And so they drove us out to the location. And of course, we had to get up before the sunrise because the first shot of the movie is me walking in the Sahara Desert and the sun coming up. And it was, I think, one of the top three sights I've ever seen in my life. It's just like mind-boggling. It's an ocean of sand, of yellowish type of sand, and with every movement of the sun, all the shading on the dunes changes. So it's
oh,
almost like it's coming alive.
that's
So
awesome.
that was pretty exciting.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, so I get to travel and I get to see the world.
There you go. How were your approach for this film? And let me get this straight because I was practicing the Hebrew pronunciation. Is it Joachim?
Joachim, yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Listen, to be honest, I'll give you a disclaimer. Know much about the story, but coming into it, of course, we all know about the Immaculate Conception and
Yeah.
Mary's like story, her that the miracle of her life. But there's not much about the family, her father, her
Yeah.
mother, and when I was looking into it, I was like, wait, who is this guy?
Mm,
Well, what's going on? And I couldn't find too much literature about it, but what I did was a lot of art through the
okay.
years, through time. So you get like iconography that is related to the story. And that was Hila, who plays Anne, and my kind of like starting point. We were trying to
Mm,
feed off of that, and that really helped us kind of like, it was a good segue into Joachim and that whole world of the family, which is what I think the movie, in a sense, is trying to do, is to shift just the spotlight from Mary and shine it on, the whole like nuclear family.
yeah.
I'm a father of two girls, three children. I got one boy, but two girls, and I often ask myself, since I picked up the script, what would I be saying if my girl came to me and said, "Listen, Daddy, I'm preggo. I don't have a husband, and the father is,
Yeah.
he's up there." I'd be like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Right, right.
Um, so all jokes aside, I think the interesting thing to me was just as a father, what would that mean? To be caught in a situation where, as a parent, you always want the best for your child.
Right.
And what if the best for your child is something that is totally takes her away from you? And which is what happens with kids, essentially. They have their own choices and they go
Oh
their
yeah.
own way. But I think that aspect of the movie, of just like the intricacies between what it meant and how it impacted
Mm,
uh, everyone around her is really interesting to watch.
mm. How did you collab with Noah to like who plays Mary to develop that father-daughter relationship?
Well, she's very young, and so it's easy for me to relate to her as, with no disrespect, as a child,
Yeah.
and this was her first movie. Um, so I think anytime that you come in on a job and you have a little more mileage than the other actor, they're looking up to you for some,
Yeah.
advice, for some, like, uh reassurance, whatever it is. And so I think innately my position in our relationship was more of a fatherly figure. So it
Mm,
translated into the story well. And she's just a phenomenal actor. And at the end of the day, what you want is, when you're in an interaction with an actor, is just to look deep into their eyes and and work from there. And there's something so innocent, so majestic, so childlike with her, that it was really easy. And the fact that she's sweet and she's cool made it all,
right. For you now, for you,
easier for me to tap into.
yeah, for you
Say
now,
again.
like for you now, like what do you think was like the most challenging, like or like rewarding scene for you to film with Noah?
Um, well, definitely, the most challenging and hardest scene for us to do was the scene that she comes back, she escapes the temple, she's pregnant now, she doesn't want to face her father.
Yeah.
She goes to the mother of John the Baptist while she's pregnant as well, and she hides there. And then everybody tells her, "All right, it's time to face the music. You got to come and see your dad." So it was a very long scene, very emotionally charged, and we shot it, I think, for about 6 hours. We had a single camera, so it went all around, and it was really, because it was such thing on everybody's part, and it was such a pivotal moment in the story, that everybody was kind of like on their toes, and dropped in, fully invested in this super intimate scene. And this is the funny thing about making movies, that you have like a crowd of people who are like, let's see if he cries now. Let's see if he gets in. No. But I'm saying, it's just like, you know, you have to block off reality and
Yeah.
be dumb enough to say, I believe this magic if. And that's the rub with acting.
Mm,
Just because, again, everyone, you have physical scenes, you have like dramatic scenes, but this specific scene was so, so, so charged that it was. I mean, when we finished it, we were all wiped out, but it
mm.
came out great. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, if not my favorite.
What do you think? What do you hope like the audience gets out of this when they tune in to watch this? What's the goal?
Well, first of all, to be touched, moved, and inspired. I think um, I'll sign. I'll sign for that. And it depends what your What type of baggage you come into this? Some people are extremely familiar with the story and they want to see a reenactment of what they already know. Some have no idea about the story and they just want to see a movie, and to be engaged in a thrilling piece of entertainment. So, but overall, I think sometimes I look at a story like that and I go like, would I want my kids to see it? And
Right.
definitely with this one, I think I do because the message is, well, first and foremost, love will conquer all and love will save the world. And I love
Mm,
that. I love that. I think we don't have much of that creed in our day-to-day life. We're so busy with other things that we forget that that is the glue of everything. And uh, I'd love, girls to watch this movie and be like, "Hey, look, look! If she did that, if she carved her own way through, the jungle of life and didn't
yeah.
give in and didn't give up, I take away from that." And it's just a really heartfelt and beautiful story. Uh, and I'm leaving outside you know, the whole other part of the movie, which is, if you're a believer, I think you can
Right.
enjoy that aspect as well.
Mm. As an actor, was there one thing that you learned from filming this movie that sticks out to you?
Mhm. Well, you always pick up things, I
Yeah.
think I'm a history buff, and it's as if I entered the DeLorean and I'm back to the future in a sense, and I
Right.
got to live, even if it was just for a single like drop of a second in a time that we all just like can fantasize about. I mean, I lived, it's still a fantasy, but
Yeah.
in my psyche, in my heart, I feel like for a second I walked on the road leading to, the old Jerusalem, to the Holy Temple,
Huh.
and just like having that set of mind of of the different priorities and that they had back then, and within the grace of God, in a
Mm,
sense.
mm.
So yeah, that was beautiful to me.
How about the outfits and the costumes that you wore? How
My
was that?
favorite part, I can't
Yeah.
believe you brought it up. The costumes are phenomenal.
Mm,
Again, like I said at the time, we worked a lot from the iconography
yeah.
of the story through paintings, sculptures, whatever. And I think our Tina, our costume designer, did such an incredible job with the colors and the layers. And if it was up to me, I'd be walking like that all day, every day. I just find it so comfortable, so great looking, so cool, and so you go to Burning Man festival, people try to try to
Yeah.
sport the style a little bit, but here it was just like phenomenal. I loved it. I loved it.
That's awesome. So if you have Mary on Netflix, what's next for you now? Anything you're allowed to tell us about that you got cooking?
Yeah. So I have it's it just so happened that I'm part of a movie about Jesus that Terrence Malick directed, and I hope it's going to come later this year. I'm just shooting a World War II movie um, with Scott Eastwood and Colin Hanks. It's called Lucky Strike. I'm looking to look out for that next year. Rod Lurie is directing that one, and yeah, I got a couple of other things that I can't really talk about, but it's going to be a fantastic coming couple of years. So looking forward to it.
Amazing. Ori, how can the listeners now and the viewers find you on social media to keep up with you? I know you've been posting a few things about projects.
Right. Yeah, I do mainly IG, Instagram. It's my name, Ori Pfeffer. Look me up and follow to get updated with what's going on.
Amazing. All right, I want to thank you for giving me from this today. This was great.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.